Hey everybody. Hey, how are you doing? I apologize, Mike, or I apologize to anyone that was viewing this. I actually just got the call from him. So I hope you can understand the reason why I halted or I ended that stream because I was just very concerned about him. So he did just reach out to me, which is great news. Now to presume what I was saying, and this is for anyone that watched part one. Relationship maintenance is so important, and just like I was saying about the things that was going on with him and I, it was very important, and honestly, like I said, it's been a lot on his end, and it's been a lot on my end, and just like I mentioned before, we have to do those daily check-ins because those daily check-ins are everything. And me not hearing from him for 2 days, now I understand why. And so I feel a lot better now that I've spoken with him concerning the things that's been going on and why I haven't heard from him 2 days. And I understand the reason why. And like I mentioned about the listening part, that I'm really just starting to physically see the manifestation of like it being positive. It's a positive thing to listen to what they have to say because I wasn't aggressive, I wasn't mad at them. I just really had a heart of understanding on what he was trying to say to me, and he explained to me what was going on. So I understand he was with his family, this and this was going on, and it was a lot going on. So sometimes you have to have that level of understanding. I'm saying this while going through all this, so maybe this will help somebody as they go through their process when they're trying to figure out how to maintain a relationship, because those daily check-ins are everything. Him and I, we don't go a day without talking. We talk, well, we communicate every day some type of way. To others, that may be too much. Some other people be like, no, that isn't this, and that, or the other. But I must say that just talking to him and knowing that he's okay, it makes my world okay. And that's how I know the relationship have elevated to this place. But just know that everything's fine, and just doing those check-ins and let me know that he was okay would have been definitely better. And he no, he don't do stuff like this. I'm like, so what's going on? But you have when you learning or you know someone well enough, you know something else is going on. Something else was going on that was outside of just him and I. So I'm grateful that everybody's okay in the family. And the second point was to have that alone time. And one of the things I was just talking to him on the phone about, and I don't mind disclosing it, I was telling him that I had to take those couple of days just to recenter, recharge myself. And I'm finding a way to really just bring Shay together. And or just I'm spending that time with myself long enough to be in this headspace like, okay, this is something I need to do to be a better me. This is something I need to do to be the best version of myself. And I told him what I'm gonna do, and I know he's gonna hold me to it. So I know that in the month of December to December 1st to January 1st, I'm physically going to go on a fast. Okay. Now this fast is not an easy fast to go on for me because I'm a bit, dependent on the sugar, and I just started eating chips again. Now these are regular chips without the cheese, of course, but they may have a little milk in it. But still, I should not be eating it. So I decided to do a fast for a whole month with no chips, which is which is something. No chips, no sugar, or at least the minimum sugar possible. Now I would still take in like smoothies, fruit. I would be drinking water, no juice, and to really eat less bread. Like less bread for me will be mandatory because it goes straight to my hips. It goes straight to my body type. So I'm going to do that, and while I'm doing that physically, I'm going to physically find a way to exercise. I used to walk every day or every other day, like so serious before it got too cold. But the thing is, now that it's cold, I'm not really a big fan of the cold. Okay, even if it's a little windy, a little breeze, like it was outside. Like I'm gonna take a little walk outside today. But I'm just saying the way it's been. I'm like I'm gonna find some online. I'm gonna move something or something. I need to find something to do, and I do have some Zumba DVDs, so I may want to get back to doing the Zumba again or something. But I need to do something with my body because a lot of times when you have trapped emotions, when you have things you're dealing with, which that's what I've been dealing with, emotions that's trapped, and I'm looking for different ways to express it. That's where creativity comes in. I've been in a headspace where I just want to paint, I want to draw, I want to do this, and because I'm saving money, buying a lot of canvases is just not going to do. But I do have a drawing, a sketch pad that I can just draw something maybe. And if it turns to a painting, it turns to a painting. But that's where I'm at right now in my life. So I really like I'm adamant about it. And so within 2 days, I have 2 days to do whatever I'm gonna do and eat what I'm gonna eat because I want to be my best self. And I just got to expressing that to him. So, I know he's gonna hold me to that concerning that. Now, the alone time is necessary. Like just talking to him, you know, just hearing his thoughts, seeing what was going on in his head, just kind of gave me it really it have given me just that clarity. Like, okay, so this is what's going on in his head. This is why he's been in her mode. This is why this is going on. So for me, as a woman and being his woman, I want to know what is going on with him so I can be there and support him emotionally. So I'm speaking about healthy relationships. And sometimes with the healthy relationships, you're gonna have to do things that you really wouldn't usually do, y'all. Okay, I'm just here as ranting. Hopefully, this will be a message for somebody. Don't know, but that long time is necessary. And sometimes, like I mentioned, like these 2 days have been crazy. I've been having issues sleeping. I've been having issues focusing because I was really worried about him. You know what I mean? And even though I was praying, I still was worried about him. I was very concerned that he was okay. But seeing that he's okay made my world okay. And so that's how I know I care about him. And he was like, it was good to see me as well. So we're both feeling better. So he should be back today. But outside of that, I really want to challenge myself to be a better Shay and eat better because I can't be saying, okay, I'm going to think better. I'm going to challenge myself mentally, but yet I'm stuffing my mouth with a whole bunch of zuzus and snacks that I don't need. And so that's definitely something I'm working on. And then the last thing was to have God to be like to allow God to be the glue for that relationship because God is the glue to the relationship. And I thank God even on right here where we are right now. I thank God for having Him to call me in this for us to have that necessary conversation because God is the glue and God can communicate with Him in ways that I can't. And even when we are at odds, it is what it is. But the relationship as a whole, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. And so when it's a lot going on outside of the relationship, it will influence the relationship in some form or fashion. Now, if you are single, then this don't apply to you. Or if you are preparing for a relationship, this still could apply to you because you want that level of relationship. Now, this also could extend to family members, neighbors, or anybody else that may be in a headspace of physically, you know, wanting to manifest a relationship. And relationship maintenance is so important. And I need to write this down for a later message because I believe this is something that's going to help me. Now, I just put out the segment today, relationship maintenance. This is the longer version of that. So I'm thinking that I could possibly, like when I do publish a segment, I could just come on here and talk about it. And then you can go and listen to it and then send your message. You can put a message on the Anchor app and let me know how it may speak to you. So this is an idea because I really want to expand and this bring more, this. But outside of that, I really want to just still speak on the R's because I think I was speaking on the R's and I think I didn't finish the R's. The reveal, that means ask God to reveal those people that's in your circle, to remove those distractions and make sure nothing is becoming a distraction. Like I was mentioning in the first one, he's pushing me towards a greater version of myself. And I'm like, I need to do this. I need to do this. He's not turning me away from things that God has always helped me to do. Far as school, better myself, just doing these things that I know I need to do. And I know he's going to hold me accountable, even when I hold myself accountable. So there's something that definitely something I'm looking at, and not just him, my mentor, my family members. If I told my family members, like, hey, I'm going to go raw vegan on the 1st of December, which is not what's going on, but I'm going that direction, you know what I mean, eventually. And if I say this, they're gonna hold me to it. Like, oh Shay, you remember you said this? Remember you said this? So I have people who hold me accountable enough to a place where I'm like, hey, if I'm doing this thing is going to affect them. Well, if I tell my daughters, hey, we're going to not eat chips, or we're not going to eat sugar, we're not going to go and get zuzus and snacks, then this is what we're going to do. I do have those people that's going to hold me accountable. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for these healthy relationships. And the thing is, we have so many toxic relationships as well. And we're trying to make this work in a toxic relationship, and it won't. If a relationship is toxic, it's toxic. And if someone become that, then it's not good either. And relationship maintenance is so important. It's just as important as a car. Yeah, everything is okay. Everything's okay, Mike. He had called, so he video chat me. So I had, like I told him, like I usually won't get off of, I usually want to get off of a video so abrupt. But I told him, like, if I'm making a video, if I'm doing something, far as content wise, you know, to be more aware of the time. But I'm willing to get back to it if I have to, because I recognize that I have to share that time too. But he's okay. We had a conversation and he's okay. He's in Atlanta living, and it was some situations that went down that he had to take care of. So I understand why I didn't hear from him in 2 days. But it was just some family issues and it was a funeral, of course. So, but outside of that, we had a conversation, and I see him later on, so we're going to talk more about it. But most definitely, thank goodness I was calm, and I allow God to lead my words, and my words were seasoned with sweetness and kindness, and you know, and I listened to what he had to say instead of being angry, which was some issues that we had in the past. Like if something like that happened, it's not that something like that happened, but if something happened where it was a misunderstanding, I would get pissed off. I would get mad. I would react. I would say this. I would say something that's outside of my character. I would cuss a little bit. So for me, it's definitely something that I'm just being transparent about, because so many times we overreact. We react instead of being proactive. And that situation could have turned out different. But thank God I am not who I was. And I'm looking to be a new person every day. But everything's okay. Okay. But outside of that, I'm starting to see some things, but I understand why. Because I know he just don't just go without communication like that with me, especially if you with your family. But I can say that just as a way to hone in on the message. And hopefully my relationship is just in the hot seat that I put in the hot seat, because it gets real some days. Like today, these couple of days are real. Like today is a real thing. You know what I mean? It's a real thing for me and him. But I'm glad that I could express that and be transparent. about it, because so many people, they have these relationships, or even other content creators, they have these relationships, and it's not something that's really spoken of. And I believe it's appropriate enough to where I can say, oh, this and that, because I'm not just exposing everything, but I'm exposing necessary things that would actually be necessary for people to recognize that every relationship, they have their days, they have their moments, and you have to talk it through. You have to really communicate. If you don't communicate, then you have no relationship. That's with your children. That's with your children's teacher. That's with your niece. That's with your boss. That's with your mailman. Because if they, like, you need communication with your mailman, if they're going to give you a check, because you want to know, like, hey, this a check. So I think it's very important to have and maintain your relationships. And I believe God cares about relationships. That's why I speak about them. That's why I'm in the field that I'm in, because God cares about your relationship. God cares about you. God cares about you having healthy interaction with people that you're supposed to love and care about. I mean, it's just the reality of it all. And when it comes down to a lot of things, it's a definite, it's something that needs to be spoken of. And I think maybe God shows me these things to speak on them, like concerning relationships. People really don't speak about relationship maintenance anymore. Just like some people don't get oil changes in their car. When was the last time you got an oil change in your car? I ain't going right now, so I'm on the way to get mine. I mean, I'm just putting it out there, you know what I mean? But I did have my uncle come by a couple of weeks ago to check on my spark plugs and make sure everything is functioning because it's cold. Now, this around this period of time with cars, y'all, you have to make sure everything is where it needs to be, because anything that's going on with your vehicle, it seems like it amplifies when it's December. So if anything, get your oil change, get your tune up. I'm not getting paid for this. There's no ad. I wish it was, but get your tune up. Make sure everything is functioning the way it needs to. Because if it's not, if you have a check engine light, you need to check the thing out. And that's like we have check engine lights in our relationships, but we don't check it out. They even have like this little. They have this code reader that I purchased, and I'm so glad I did. It was $104. Thank God it was on sale. But this thing right here is a lifesaver, because I can literally put in my car, and it reads any code that's going on, and I can literally get it fixed. I can look up these codes, how to fix it, and all this other stuff. So these code readers, it really helps our relationship. And I think God is like that code reader. God goes into the system of our relationship, just like that a car is like a computer. It goes to what's going on and goes to the root of it. Like, need to work on this. Just like God went and fixed that situation that I was worried about. You know what I mean? God was like, he's okay. And God kept telling me he's okay. But I wanted to know that he's okay from him. You know what I mean? But outside of all that, we need to maintain our relationships. We need to, right. Oh, yeah, sometime too. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. And having this be my third car, and I'm sure I'm going to get another car, because this car is not my last car. I'm going to get a definite upgrade, and I'm hoping that's just for next year. Next year, I definitely want another car, but I want one in better. I want one that's going to fit the destiny. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Where God gonna take me? But this one right here, I love her. I love her. But I hope that my transparency was helpful. I hope that something I said was helpful. And just know that's like with the 4 R's: reveal, remove, replace. Uh, uh I mean, repair and replace. I'm sorry, I'm everywhere. My mind was everywhere for a moment. But, just like you ask God to repair those relationships that you can. Some relationships can be toxic at first. Some relationships, not like our relationship is not toxic. Our relationship have always been healthy. We just been going through some spats. And so trying to see why. That's the why. That's what we're like, why are we arguing? Why are we disagreeing? Why is this going on? But it's just things going on, and I'm sure we're going to work things out as we always do. But some relationships we do need to repair. Okay, well, I'm glad it was. Some relationship need to repair. And if I can, I know I'm getting deep. I know I'm getting like sea deep over here. I know I'm getting like blue, this blue sea deep. But it's a relationship I'm currently working on that I'm repairing. And that's relationship with my ex-husband. And what I mean by this is this: me working on how I interact with him and how I come off to him, or the energy that I have when he's around, or just anything. I'm working on that. I'm gonna tell you something that happened. Story time. I think it was like last week or so. My daughters, of course, it's late. They go to bed around 8ish, 8 o'clock, but it's like 8ish. So I'm like, y'all stay up to 9. My daughters, I'm looking at this math work. I'm like, this is not my go-to. I'm not good at math. So of course, my ex-husband, well, you don't know this, but my ex-husband, he was a math teacher. So I'm like, okay, this dude, he's really good at science and math. So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead, call him up. I called him up. He only lived 5 minutes away. Tell me why he came giddy as a little child. He stayed like 30 minutes and helped the girls with their schoolwork. When I tell you, that was such a healing moment because being able to be in the same space and for him to physically come over here and, because we weren't in a headspace where he can physically come see his children because we were at odds. And in some ways, we still are. And that's the thing with being a divorcee, that you sometimes have to pick your battles. And so by me reaching out to him concerning the girls' schoolwork, and I'm like, hey, if they're having an issue with their math, you know, hey, it's video chat. Because personally, I don't think he should come over here every time, but it can be video chat, it can be phone call. It's different ways that he can, communicate with them. That's weird. You always coming over here. What you coming here for? You know what I mean? But I think it's just one of those things where I'm just in a healthy space with him, where I don't mind him come and see them physically, like come here physically to see them. But it's also at a place where I'm like, okay, I have to put my ego to the side. I have to put the baggage of the bad decisions he and I both made, and the reason why the relationship is not where it was, which I'm glad. I'm grateful for the divorce. I don't want him. He don't want me. We good. We both in relationships. We are happy without one another. But like I was expressing to my daughters, I'm like, we are still a family, but we're not a family. He still is your dad, so he can, long as you want that relationship with him, long as that it's time and space and we're alive, your dad is invited. But it's other ways that he can come by. He can video chat, he can call you. You know what I mean? And so that is available. But I think for me to be in this space, it's it's growth. And I used to be so petty. Like, no. And I've never kept him away from his children. It was more like what was going on with him. I was like, look, this, I don't want to see you. But he always had the opportunity to call them, to video chat them, but I just wasn't comfortable with him that's coming by to give them a hug at some times. I'm just being honest. Because of what was going on between him and I. And it was just that severe. But the moments where I was okay with it, he was okay with that too. But I think it's other ways when you're co-parenting, it's ways to do it. The phone and the video chat is just fine, but sometimes the children need the touch of their father. And so he's supposed to be getting them soon and everything. So it's a whole situation, and we have something settled out in court, and people that know the situation, they know what's going on. But he's going to be getting supervised visits concerning them and things like that. It's going to be purely supervised visits. It's not going to be him just with them. But anyone that actually have followed my story, they know what's going on. But definitely still fighting this thing and about to go to court because of what happened. But in the meanwhile, we do have a temporary parenting plan where it's in place where he can see them supervised. And I think that's going to actually heal the situation and what's going on. So that's just an update for what's going on with that situation. But I have every reason to not to feel where I felt and how I feel, but and they have a reason to feel what they feel, but it is what it is. But to be in a headspace where I was physically present and he was right here at the table with them, it was a healthy interaction or a healthier interaction. And hopefully we can come to a place we can co-parent to where things will still be in place, but it's supervised. And so where the girls still can have that connection with their father. And for anyone that knows the history behind the story, they know why it's supervised. But it's just that's definitely a relationship that I'm willing to work on repairing and to physically go to family therapy. Just us three, and then he go to therapy and they go to therapy together. Hopefully, if it gets to that place, to where it will be healing in a process. Because sometimes, some things happen and it's horrible, and it's so horrible where people can't see a positive future. But I prayed over and I've been asking God to show me what I need to do concerning that. But legally, I have a lawyer. Legally, he have a lawyer, and we just working those things out. And so it's definitely a process. But repairing a broken relationship, whether it's with an ex-spouse or whether it's with a child trying to reconnect with their parent, or it's whether it's with a parent, or whether it's with just an ex-boss or an ex or someone you were with, it's just a whole situation where people need to understand and have that openness or that level of openness where it's just not healthy. And sometimes you have to remove yourself. And if you can repair a relationship and that relationship can be conducive for the future, then you can repair it. Then God will also, whatever's removed, if it's not repaired, God can replace anything or anyone with better. I've seen places I've lived to where I live now. I'm looking like things are better. So God can definitely will replace things with better. So just know that without a shadow of a doubt, God can always give you better. And I want to say this and close this because I recognize it's the time and everything. It's almost like having a small teddy bear, and God wants to give you a big teddy bear. It was this illustration on Facebook or something. It was a picture of Jesus, and Jesus had this really humongous teddy bear behind his back, and it was this little child, and Jesus had his hand out like this. It is hard, and Jesus had his hand out like this. It's a screaming heart. Ooh, but that's a whole nother thing. Ooh, that's a whole nother thing. I made us make another video. I made this. That's a whole video because it goes deep. But I want to be a better Shay. I want my daughters to be able to have be in a heal space with their father, and I want to have this heal space with him. And our family is broken, yes, but we're still a family. And I want them to have a healthy adulthood and not be without their father. And their father to at least have some leverage of their father in their life. That's very important. But let's go back to the illustration. Jesus, he had this big teddy bear, and the little child had to be like 4 or 5. And Jesus had his hand out like, could you give me a small teddy bear? And I believe that's something that we have to struggle. We struggle with, and I definitely struggle with it. And one of the things I've learned how to do is to distinguish my rights, to yield everything back to God. And once I yield everything back to God, God always give me something better. Just like this relationship, this like out of all the relationships I've been in, this is like the best. I've even outside that marriage, it was a cool, healthy marriage. We had our issues, but I can even say even outside the marriage, this is a really healthy space I'm in, and I'm finding myself being a healthy space with this guy I'm dating. Even though we have our issues, but it don't make the relationship not healthy or happy. It's just that we have our moments like we've been having. So hoping that with conversation, with coming together, we can actually work this thing out even more. But thank you for allowing me to be transparent about relationship maintenance. I went way further than I did on the segment, but I'm definitely going to place the, just in case you're seeing this and it's in the chat. I don't think the chat is going to show it, but or you can just click on it, but I'm going to put it in the chat. Let me see. And this is the anchor podcast. You can like go on there. But thanks for listening. Thanks for your subscriptions. I welcome the new subscribers as well. And I hope that you came back for part two. And I know I had to, get off abruptly because I hadn't heard from him 2 days. I'm like, what's going on? And so that was emergency. And for me to be able to balance it all, it is a process. But I want to just remind you that, you know, God cares about relationships and we need to maintain our relationships. We are, in a lot of times, the mechanics in our relationships. We are the ones that need to, and eventually, we will learn how to maintain those areas, and we have that responsibility. God is the head mechanic. We're still responsible for maintaining the small things that we can maintain in our relationships, or the big things. But I hope that someone said that was helpful. Thanks for following the podcast. Thanks for showing your support. Okay, I'm glad. And so I love y'all. And I'm be honest, I drank this acai bowl, smoothie, and I've been like having to go pee like a racehorse. I promise you, it's really, really bad. But I feel good. So maybe that's the reason why, my sinuses would work. My sinuses were cleansing the way it was, because I'm like, okay, that's what's going on. But anyways, I will be doing more videos, and my goal is one video a week. That's my goal. I know that's something that's doable. Even if it's just a 5-minute video, even if I just wake up in the morning and say, hey, have a good day. My goal is to really increase more videos on here, particularly because I think people can always come back. But I hope that my transparency helped. And even when you're single, it can help you maintain that as well. Right. Right. You're so right, Sunbreeze. And it is. Your spouse is your best friend. And the guy I'm dating, he is my best friend. And we talked, we laughed, and we have a great chemistry in our friendship, the friendship version of our relationship. I'm trying to say, in our friendship that's building, it's definitely that. But he explained to me we had an open communication. I was calm. I listened to him, and which something I'm not usually, because if I feel some type of way, I'm gonna cuss you out. I'm not, and my old self, or just I'm gonna say a couple months ago, that's something I do. But it's a lot of change concerning how I react to him. And since my reactions have changed, the outcome of our disagreements have changed as well on my end. But things are getting better. I can say with life happenings, it's a lot on the relationship. And so those 2 days is something we both needed. I think we both need those 2 days to kind of just be away from one another, be around other people. I was mainly by myself with children, but I needed that time to release. And I still need to release a couple more things. And I'm planning on doing it. And like I said, I'm going to sketch, I want to write, I want to find healthy outlets to release those emotions that I have, that I know that he's not responsible for. It's like for me, like things outside of him that's going on. But it's very healthy for you to have a true sense of self when you're in relationships, and you have a certain level of self-love when you are in a relationship. self-love is even more. I think I'm pushing it more when you're in a relationship, because if you love self, you're going to show somebody how you want to be treated. You're going to show that. You're going to need that a long time. You're going to need that. And I think that's hard. You know what I mean? It's a lot. And I appreciate the comments. It's a lot, because when I actually came on to the first part, or relationship maintenance on the first part, uh, it's it's a definite thing. And right. And I thank you for the comments concerning content. You know, people don't talk about honesty and they're not transparent. But even in my transparency, I'm aware of what I say, because you don't want to demonize your partner and you don't want to make them look bad. So you want to, still cover some of the things that's going on, but you still want to protect the relationship. But you want to expose enough though it's going to help. Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. If I feel a certain way, my mouth get real nasty and my attitude gets very nasty. And, maybe it's a bull coming out of me. Maybe it's a Taurus. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but my mouth get this the same way I can give inspiration. I can bring death to you too. So it's definitely something that I'm learning how to not do. And sometimes we hurt the people that sometimes we hurt the people that's closest to us unintentionally. And and I actually have a segment that's called Displaced Rage. And the same thing as a displaced frustration. Sometimes we're frustrated at this particular thing, but it can convey itself, or it can manifest itself with you being frustrated with that person or that thing, or someone cut you off earlier. So you come home and you arguing with your partner, or just say your boss really got on your nerves at work. You're coming home arguing with your wife or your husband, or you're mad at your children for not cleaning their bed, or not closing their door, and it had nothing to do with them, but it had everything to do with what went on prior to them. And so, hey, close the door, baby. And so it's definitely something that is so true. And we can hurt those people that's closest to us. And so me understanding that he needed that space was very important. I can see. I thought maybe it was something wrong with me for being okay with him needing that space. But yeah, yeah. Right. So, and I'm an April Taurus, so it's a certain level of anger I may display, even though I'm sweet, even though I'm kind and sincere and everything. And even people told me like, "Oh, you're the sweetest Taurus. Like Taurus I met, they're mean." But the thing is, I do have a very mean side, and people don't understand. You know, right? Well, I'm grateful for the comments. You said I do and don't understand how couples have side chicks dudes in their relationship. Well, like that's easy. Sometimes somebody is just a piece to them. And like I said, relationships are work. Relationships are work. And it's like side chicks and side dudes, they're like side gigs, side hustles. Sometimes, if you are waiting for your paycheck, you're gonna need to do something to kind of get you through the hole until you get to the next paycheck. And that's the best way I can say it. I'm against side chicks and side dudes. I'm all for exclusive relationships. I'm all for wholesome relationships. I'm all for intentional relationships. However, I can understand why this society have side chicks, side dudes. That's not that's not a new thing. It's been there. Back in the day, grandpa had a side chick. They just didn't call it side chick. He had a family, but he had a whole nother family over here. And even with a couple people I know, it's some females. I'm gonna tell you something. I've worked different many jobs, and I can honestly say I actually have heard more females having side dudes than males having side chicks. So females just cheat a little bit smarter than guys. So It was this lady. She was married, I think, 38 years, 37, 38 years. She had an affair for 42. So she was with this guy longer than she was married. And he died thinking he the only one. So I'm just saying, females, I'm not one of them, thank God. But yeah, so most definitely it's one of those things where side chicks, side dudes is old. And I think people, because relationships are a lot of work, we don't like work. We like things fun. We like things. It's almost like a full course meal. Who wants to eat a full course meal every day? It sounds really good, right? In a relationship, it's just like that. But a side piece, a side do is like the little snack on the side. It's like you stopping by Taco Bell for a little bit. Well, I'm eating all this food. I'm eating good, but I want to look something a little different today. I want to feel this way, and I think some people they fall for that, but it is what it is. So I'm not for side chick, side dudes. Trust me. I'm at a place where I can have all that, but I don't care about all that. I want to be in a faithful, exclusive relationship that will end up in marriage, and I want family. Now, every young lady, every young man is not in their mindset, even older people. It's some people, older people out here being side chick, side dudes because this society we live in, no one is faithful anymore. So, hello. Right. So I think I break that down. I broke that down. He said, right. We're mad at the world, but I think Tauruses are very upfront, blunt people. And it's not meant necessarily a Taurus, but and with me studying astrology, looking at your life, looking at your birth chart, it's different categories. Like everything in our lives, it lines up with our birth chart. People that don't believe in astrology won't see this, but you can find so many things. You can look at your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, what planets, what house this thing is in. So yeah, but my sun sign is Taurus. So that sun sign, it definitely I can come off as aggressive. Even though I'm not aggressive, and I think that's what people see. They see the aggression. I've been called a woman with a lot of masculinity. No, I'm not. It's just that's my sun sign. I'm going to come off a little aggressive. I'm going to come off a little blunt. I'm going to come off a certain way. But once you meet me, I'm not like that at all. I'm like the sweetest person you ever met. But just don't get on the wrong foot because you better run. If you ever seen, and I'm gonna tell you something with Tauruses. If you've ever seen, let's look on YouTube about bulls. Let's say a cow or a bull being loose, because technically I'm not. Yeah, Taurus is a bull, but I'm a female, so technically I would be a cow because the cow is a female version. Okay, but you got all that. The bull is the male version, but you know when a bull attacks, you don't sit there and wait. You run. So, so it's just one of those things where you you recognize that, but when a bull attack you, you run. You don't stand there and like wait. But just know that with astrology, all those different things actually correspond in relationships. And I'm dating someone with a Capricorn sun sign. So that's a whole nother situation, like on a sun level, like the sun sign level. He's a Capricorn, I'm a Taurus. Yeah. But yeah, 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 yeah. But most definitely thank y'all for the love and thank you for the support and share this video. And I don't mind, even if he see this, it is he knows that I share things, but I don't share things just too intimate. But I hope that my transparency really helps because I think people need to be more honest about their journey. But I do birth charts. I do love charts. I do different things like that, different readings. I also do tarot readings as well. So if you want a reading, let me know. I love you. So thank you, Sun Breeze, and thank you. And I love y'all. I got to go, y'all. So I love y'all. Thank you for coming back. And so know that once a week I will be doing something, whether it's on a podcast or not. And even if it's just a couple minute video, I'm going to really practice on just being more present on this platform. So thank you for everything. love and light. And remember, we need to maintain our relationships. Okay, y'all. So, and I want to maintain a healthy relationship with y'all. So we're going to make sure we stay in community. We're going to stay in connection and communication. So if you are following me on social media, my name is Lashe Jackson, Lashea Jackson, and you can go look up me at Southwest, and you can find me there. So I love you in time. Anyways, until next time, until next week. I love y'all and know that out of the heart flows the issues of life. And if you listen to the podcast, you know this is why I say at the end of every segment. Say it with me. Out of the heart flows the issues of life. Shay's heart. Anyways, I love y'all. Good night. Well, till next time. Not good night.